Man, that is unbelievable that Auburn is out of this basketball tournament, losing to Yale today. We'll get instant reaction here. Hopefully, be joined by a couple other people. Taylor Korn is heading to the Auburn locker room in Spokane as we speak. She there to cover UAB, who's already out today. There to cover Auburn, who has now been surprisingly eliminated, and then there to cover Alabama, all in one venue. But our home state teams are 0-2 so far, with Alabama tipping off in about 40 minutes, as that game runs a little late there. But when it's all said and done, Yale gets the win. Auburn had some chances there at the end, and we'll get to your comments here. But my first comment is that never looked like the Auburn team we saw up in Nashville or a lot of time throughout the season. They never played with the same rhythm they usually play with. They never played with the same swagger that they usually play with, the same pace. They played a little tight, especially as the game went on in the second half. And if you guys listen to me over the years, you know one thing I don't do, especially in basketball, is come on and complain about officiating. But I don't think that game was officiated very well, nor do I think it was officiated the same ways at each end of the floor. And then there's the Chad Baker-Mazara ejection. I know what happened earlier. Where the slap or the push to the throat happened, but you can't retaliate. You just can't retaliate, because you never know. That's going to be the one they see. It's going to be the one they see. And then you get ejected. And I sort of agree with Charles. I don't think it should have been a flagrant 2, an ejection. I think Bruce said that at the half. But you just can't give him an opportunity to kick you out of the game. And I said all week long, I thought he was the most important player for Auburn. And then he's out in the first 3 minutes of the game in the NCAA tournament. You got to control your emotions. I know you got pushed in the throat or slapped in the throat or hit in the throat. You can't retaliate. You let your scoring get back at that guy. Too good of a basketball team. Too good of a basketball team to be out of the tournament to a team like that, to Yale. To a team like that. 25 fouls on Auburn, 19 on Yale. And I'll get to your comments. But, I mean, just there was one moment in the second half, 4 straight turnovers. 4 straight turnovers. And a 3-minute streak of no scoring at all for Auburn. Not just they didn't look like themselves. An 83% free throw shooter in Trey Donaldson with 2 free throws to tie it, and he misses the first one at the end. Just not the same Auburn team we saw all year long. Even in losses, in Tuscaloosa, in Knoxville, where they lost tough road games, that team played differently than they played today. I don't know if it was nerves. Yale definitely controlled the pace of the game. Your comments in a second. But let me bring Lance in here and get Lance some comments here. Lance Taylor joins me now. This is all brought to you by our friends at Autograph. Autograph is the app. You download it. You get Auburn content, Alabama content, your favorite teams. Use the promo code TNR. The promo code TNR. I don't know how much of that you heard. I'll let you speak about the game. But for me, Auburn never played with swagger, never looked like themselves today.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I didn't see – so we were at walk-ons, and when I left, I was in transition. I didn't see the Chad Baker-Mazara. I still haven't seen the flagrant foul, and I haven't seen the ejection. And obviously, you know, a player of that caliber, that's probably the difference on whether or not Auburn wins this game. But, you know, I think down the stretch, you know, Yale didn't make free throws. Auburn, obviously, when you got Denver Jones and Trey Donaldson at the line, those are guys that they're almost automatic. When you're talking about 85+% from the free throw line. So, I don't know, man. It's a weird – there's something going on with the SEC. And, like, this is crazy. Like, when Florida just tied that game, and I'm going to – so random. I'm at a place you'll recognize for a random karaoke birthday party that started at 5 o'clock, and they couldn't do the first karaoke song. They told him, until the Auburn game was over. So when the Donaldson foul occurred, I was like, buddy, you're not going to be singing for a while. It's going to overtime.
Yeah.
But watching Florida, Colorado, when Florida tied it up, I was like, this thing's going to overtime. Florida's going to win this game by 8-10. And I don't know what's going on, Dunaway, because I still think the SEC, these teams like Auburn, like Florida, like Kentucky are really good teams. And I don't know, man. This is crazy, crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, the SEC, if you're not familiar with what LT is talking about, Florida lost to Colorado. So only Tennessee, the regular season champions, have won. Auburn, Florida today, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and South Carolina yesterday. 1-5 the SEC, with A&M playing right now and trailing Nebraska 2014. So if they don't win, they're 1-6. And then Alabama has Charleston. There is a chance that you wake up tomorrow or go to bed tonight with one SEC team or two SEC teams, and one of them is Alabama, depending on how Alabama does tonight. But let's talk about this game, and I won't keep you long. I know you're at a party, and we'll get to reaction after you go, and I appreciate you joining me for a second.
I'd rather sit on with you for a couple of hours, but
well,
back in here, unfortunately.
Well, if you can give me 10 minutes, we're not going to stay on this long, because it's just I mean, I would love to hear what you thought. We talked about the ejection. Until you see it, you can't talk about it. But I will tell you that the Yale player, I think his name is August Mahoney, who will grow up to be a villain. He'll be a politician that somebody hates, or he'll be a villain in a 1990s movie, just a smarmy looking kid. He going down the floor, he sort of back slapped open-handed into the throat of Chad Baker Mazzara. The play continues. Well, coming back down the floor, way behind the play, Chad Baker sizes him up and throws an elbow. And they go to the monitor. They rule it a flagrant 2. Charles Barkley and many people, Bruce, thought it should have been a flagrant 1, not an ejection. But he sized him up and threw an elbow. And I do think Chad Baker was much more severe than what the Yale kid did. But Chad Baker's an emotional player. I said all week long, I thought he was the spark plug of this team. And to lose him basically 3 minutes into the game was devastating for this team.
Yeah, and again, I haven't seen it, but based on what you're telling me, I mean, you just got to have a little composure in that situation. And
you can't retaliate.
You know, it's crazy because now we'll completely forget how good this Auburn team was. I mean, you know, in the season, winning 6 consecutive games, winning the tournament in Nashville, and winning those 6 games by 18.8 points per game, they were dominant. And yeah. I thought Yale might give them a little bit more than they thought. I said initially when we saw the bracket, I was like, I just watched Yale, and if Brown makes their free throws, Yale's not athletic. And Danny Wolf didn't have a big game, so I can't even really make sense of this. I mean, this is truly another example of March Madness, why we love these first couple of rounds. But if you're an Auburn fan, in the venue I'm in right now, there is a ton of Auburn fans, and they're just in shock. Like, they never thought until it was all zeros. And I thought Auburn was going to have a final shot. I thought they were going to win the game with a walk-off. But I think people are just in shock, and they never thought they were going to lose until the game was over.
Yeah, I know I am. I mean, I know some people think I was joking, but I really thought this team was good enough to win the national championship. I really did.
You know, and you bring that up, and I said, look, I wouldn't be surprised at all. My only problem was the draw, but you can't blame the draw now. Spokane going out there sucks, but the fact is, if you can't beat Yale, you know, this kind of negates all of that argument.
Yeah. Let's get some comments real quick. But you know, you've seen guys have careers, and John Poulikitis had a career night, 28 points, and he did it in step backs and heatly contested shots. He was just having one of those nights where everything fell for him. Everything.
And look, he had a terrible foul there on one of the last possessions to put Auburn on the line. Help me out with this, because I thought possession error was Yale, and I can't hear in this place I'm at. There was no sound on the game, but it looked like a loose ball tie-up, and I thought possession was to Yale, but then Auburn gets possession, and then ultimately the block that was called a foul, and Donaldson goes to the line and misses the free throw. But was it ruled a timeout? What happened there?
Okay, say that again one more time. I was trying to find the next comment.
So Yale had possession arrow, and the ball goes on the floor, and there's a tie up. And so I thought possession was to Yale. And then Auburn inbounds it, and it's when Donaldson was fouled and he missed the first end of the free throw.
No, the possession error was Auburn. It was
Oh,
pointing Auburn. Yeah, so it was Auburn
yeah,
in
on the
that situation.
it said Yale.
Yeah. Rolling through this, state teams 0-3 is what they're projecting, says Matt. Doesn't think Alabama gets the win. Well, I guess they are 0-3 because you count Samford. So Alabama is trying to get the first state win coming up. Troy with an expletive in this, but I don't know. I don't know if you could tell in your venue. I'm not a guy who complains about the officiating, but I didn't think these guys, and maybe that's some of the problem with the SEC in this tournament. This officiating crew, I don't think called it fair on both ends of the court, LT. I think they were officiating one way for the prep school white kids than it was the athletic kids from the SEC.
Well, I mean, you go back to like last night, and it seemed like, we talk about blue bloods like Kansas get that call against Samford. But here, I think sometimes you get teams or officials that maybe get caught up in the underdog story. And I don't know, man, I've never officiated at that level before. But it's almost like they get into, like, everybody that's not an Auburn fan in that venue, they're pulling for Yale. And it's almost like they get caught up in it. And a 50-50 call leans one way. I mean, Auburn fans are they're saying exactly what Troy is saying. The guys I was with, they were like, this is insane how bad the officiating is.
Yeah, and Ben says the officiating in the Florida game was worse. I know Golden got teed up in that game. He wasn't happy with the officiating as well. So absolutely crazy. Landmine Believer played nobody in the non-conference, played one of the easiest SEC schedules, got the easiest draw in the SEC tournament, and y'all kept hyping them up all year long. Listen, when you schedule Indiana, who I think was supposed to be preseason top 15, USC, who I think was preseason top 25, and I forget the other out-of-conference big game that Auburn played, you can't help it if Indiana and USC ends up being average basketball teams. I thought it was a pretty good schedule for those couple of games, and then you get into the SEC.
Yeah, look, I mean, fact of the matter, I mean, say what you want. We saw what they did in Nashville. I mean, you can say we hyped them up all year. We know Bruce Pearl's a hell of a coach, and people are going to go back and they're going to be like, take away the Final Four, and he's done absolutely nothing. Well, he's taken one of the shittiest basketball programs maybe that we've ever seen in the SEC, and they're relevant. They're year in, year out. They're a top 15 team, and I can't explain it. I mean, these crazy things happen. I thought maybe you would see this with San Diego State just based on their style, that they could really grind it out and frustrate Auburn. I just didn't see this with Yale. I just didn't. I mean, this to me is absolutely, I know they were only a 12.5, 13.5 point favorite at mybookie.ag, but this was shocking.
Happens all the time in the tournament. Going in with momentum does not matter, says Lance Taylor's neighbor there.
New Mexico, you saw that. I mean, that momentum worked. It didn't work for Auburn. You flip the script, though. I mean, Duquesne and NC State came in with all this momentum. They're not really good teams, and they look really good in the first round. So, again, I don't think there's a rhyme or reason to any of this stuff.
Yeah. You have Evan says missing an integral part of the team in Nashville. CBM shouldn't have gotten himself kicked out in that contest. That's an Auburn fan there, Evan there. You shouldn't have. But I thought Auburn's depth could have overcome that. But, I really believe CBM and Janai Broom were the two most important players on this team. And when you're without him, it just as the game got tighter, there wasn't anybody there to make that big. Jalen Williams did sometimes, but sort of, Chad Baker-Mazara had sort of become that guy to sort of pull Auburn out of some ruts at times throughout this year, and him not being there, not even on the bench with his energy, I thought changed Auburn's dynamic the whole day.
Yeah. So what happened at the end? Like, I saw Broom. I don't know if it was an emotional thing or was like I bounced out here to jump on the StreamYard with you. So was it Broom was just being emotional and coaches were consoling him, or
he had he went to the floor a lot in that contest, and he was already from back at the SEC tournament nursing a sore left knee, and then he had a left elbow from falling onto the ground a lot, getting knocked down, maybe trying to showcase a little contact to get a foul call. So he was a little banged up, but also emotional. He was in tears. That was his parents that were out on the court with the coaches checking him out.
Hey, I'm going to get out just because I want to get home. I got to watch these people sing a couple of songs, and then I got to get.
I got it. All right. That's Lance Taylor. Appreciate your quick comments here. I'll roll through some of your comments, and we continue on. Brought to you by our friends at Autograph. Autograph is the app that keeps you up to date as a fan, right? Autograph can give you a timeline. You open it up every morning. You pick your favorite team. Let's say you're an Auburn fan. You get on there, you'll get all the stories going on with Auburn spring football, or the recount of this game, post-game reaction from the coaches, Bruce Pearl. All you have to do is put in your email address after you download it. QR code's on the screen, or download Autograph in your app store, and then put in your email address and the promo code TNR, and that'll get you the Autograph app. Great podcast and that kind of stuff. It all goes. Landmine Believer talking about Auburn's out of conference or Q rating there. Dude, you can throw all the analytics at me you want to, Landmine Believer. I'm telling you, that was a good basketball team. I saw them play in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama fought hard to beat them. That was a game Auburn could have won. I saw them in Knoxville, a road game they lost. They could have won that game in Knoxville. And I have great respect for that Tennessee team and great respect for the Alabama team. So you can talk about Q wins and Q losses all you want. That's a good basketball team. You can come in with the analytics all you want. That's a good basketball team. There are teams with better analytics who are already out of the NCAA tournament right now. So you can keep talking to me about Q wins. They're on the line of having 3 Q1 wins. That doesn't mean anything when you play 40 minutes today where they didn't play their game. Had nothing to do with the season. They didn't play their game today. They got, and several of you are saying this, they have not seen Auburn play that much of slow down half-court offense all season long. And I don't know if Yale was forcing that or if that was just how the pace of play was dictated. It just didn't look like the same Auburn team. Ben says the SEC was not great this year. I only picked Tennessee to advance to the Sweet 16, and I have them out too before they get there. I'm not that guy. I had Auburn winning the national championship, and I believed it. I had Kentucky in the Elite Eight. They're out now too. I have Tennessee in the Final Four. They're still alive. Had Florida in the Sweet 16. They're out now. I had Alabama in the Sweet 16. They're about to tip in 10 minutes or 15 minutes from now. We'll be done with this before then, so you can get back to that. So, to be honest with you, I'm sitting here in the no BS zone. I don't want you bringing BS to me tonight. As we're sitting here, Taylor Korn, if you're wondering where she is in the Auburn locker room. She is getting post-game reaction, emotional locker room, I'm being told. As you would imagine, she's getting post-game reaction. You will see that posted on all these platforms coming up this evening. Set your alerts. Follow us on all social media at Next Round Live. You'll get the reaction. She's already got some UAB posts up there. You'll get the Auburn reaction there. Scott Forrester is working hard, kicking out the stuff from the podium. You'll hear from Bruce Pearl and some of the players coming up from there. And then Taylor and Scott will be having Alabama stuff later on tonight. We appreciate all the work they do, and we appreciate Autograph and all of you for being here with us. QR code over there for MyBookie as well, mybookie.ag, bringing us our bracket challenge. As we roll on, NH3245, free throws and turnovers, always costly. Let me see if I can get the turnover number real quick, because it was uncharacteristic of Auburn this year. Total turnovers, 14 turnovers in that game, and 15 points off a turnover. But here's the number, man, as I look at this now, the stat sheet for the first time. Fast break points. Anybody want to know how many fast break points Auburn had today? They had 11. That's not Auburn basketball. That's not the way they usually play. 11 fast break points is all Auburn had today. Unbelievable. Harrison robbed again. It will be a talking point, no doubt about it. Ben back with the Gators officials. Thank you, Ben. Brian says you guys were way too cocky talking about Auburn after that fraud SEC tournament win. Serves you right. Dude, winning the SEC championship meant a lot last year. To Alabama. I was there. Meant a lot to Alabama. And they went into the tournament, made it to the Sweet 16, right? Went to the Sweet 16. What we learn in this tournament, and we learn it every year, is that basketball is not like football. It's not. Little Yale can play with an SEC championship team. Charleston may be able to play with Alabama in a little bit. Oakland can beat powerhouse Kentucky. There's something about this tournament, man. Something about this tournament. It's unbelievable. Cody says, ultimate Jimmy Landmine picking Auburn to be national champs. Listen, I tell you guys afterwards, if I really thought I was trying to landmine something, I was trying to win the bracket challenge because I thought Auburn would skate through their 2 games in Spokane. I didn't think Yale had the athletes to play at Auburn's pace, and I didn't think they had the athletes to make Auburn play at their pace. It turns out Yale, when they had to, could play at Auburn's pace, and many times Auburn had to play at Yale's pace. And then John Poulikitis, I'll pull an LT here. Next time John Poulikitis scores 28 in the NCAA tournament, you guys can have a left, you know what, right? I mean, it's just that was an unbelievable shooting night from that guy. Unbelievable shooting night. LT's 2 for 1 is getting warm. I don't know what that means. 2 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 1. I don't know, but I know his. I know getting 4 Sweet 16 teams, I think, is over with now, which was a bet we had. I think that is a stake bet went from there. I never thought that would end up going the way it did. August Mahoney, of course, that's his name. He goes to Yale. Yeah, that kid is unlikable. Unlikable. As I said earlier, I think it was Pablo Escobar, great Auburn fan on Twitter. He said he was talking about how unlikable August Mahoney was, and I tweeted him and I said, every 80s and 90s movie I watched, he was the villain. He was the boyfriend that nobody liked, or the frat boy that nobody liked. That was August Mahoney today, and he's the one that got in it with Chad Baker-Mazara, and probably ended up being the biggest moment in the game, the biggest moment of the game. All right, a couple of more comments here. Remember, Autograph. Autograph is the app. You see the QR code there, but you don't have to use the QR code if you don't want to. Just go to your app store, download it. If you're a Bama fan joining us here, you can make Alabama your favorite team. If you're an Auburn fan, you make Auburn your favorite team. All you have to do is put in your email address and the code TNR. And what it ends up doing, and I'll show you right now, I've got all the SEC teams as my favorite team, but it's this app right here, Autograph. I hit it. It'll load up. It's got some Auburn content here. It's got top listens. It's got some podcasts and stuff right here. It's got post game, some highlights, stories. It'll have football, everything in there. It's just all Auburn content. Same way if you got Alabama clicked, all the SECs. It's Autograph. It's a super app. Tom Brady's part of the ownership group. Download the Autograph app. Use the promo TNR, no cost. Just your email address and the promo code TNR, and it's yours to use right there, and you get a bunch of great content there. We appreciate that. Royal Payne says SEC a paper tiger, not just talking about Auburn, talking about everybody. 1 in 5 as the SEC, and I think more shocking than Auburn's loss, which is 99.9% on the shock scale for me, is the fact that the SEC is 1 in 5 right now. Because despite the injury, I thought Florida would advance. No way I thought Oakland could beat Kentucky. No way. I didn't expect South Carolina to win. I thought Mississippi State could battle with Michigan State, but it was a losable game, coin flip game, and there's no way I thought Auburn would lose this game. Nor did I thought they would lose to San Diego State. I thought this was going to be a UConn-Auburn showdown for the ages, and I hate we're not going to get this. I hate we're not going to get that. Everett says we want Taylor. Taylor's in Spokane. She is working. She will not be here live with you. She will have some comments that she will post at some point here. She'll put out the business first, the post-game locker room reaction from your Auburn Tigers, and then she will be on, I'm sure, on the platform. So make sure you're following everything and giving her thoughts. Absolutely a crazy day so far in Spokane. JM says it's a simple choke job. Simple choke job there. AM Golfer says, if I were Dunaway, I don't think I'd go meet Little T at the airport. By the way, is she going to stay and cover the Bama game Sunday? Well, we got to get Alabama to the Sunday game first. So far, the state's 0-2 in Spokane and 0-3 in the tournament, but she will be in Spokane all the way until the end. Seth, really good young broadcaster. I'm supposed to believe the best defensive team all year would have their opponents in the bonus for 47 of their final 80 minutes of the season. Okay, he says there. So that's a good point there by Seth on just, you're one of the better defensive teams and you end up in that situation. Is Little T okay? Yes, she is, Walker. She is a pro and she's in the locker room, one man banding that right now. Ryan, you only watched the Ivy League championship. You disrespected Yale. I don't know if he's talking to other commenters or what. No, I do watch some Ivy League basketball. Usually on a Friday night is when it's on my TV, and I'm going to disrespect it again. It's not the same level basketball as the SEC, and we could line this game up and we could play it again in 30 minutes, and Auburn would beat their eyes out. Because Pulikitis would not hit 28 again, and Chad Baker-Mazara would not get ejected again. Hey, but that's the way it works. It's the way it works. That's why it's a wild tournament. If this was a best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, Auburn would be fine. They could come back and get them tomorrow, and then they could get them on Monday, and they would still be in the tournament. Or get them on Sunday, and they'd still be in the tournament if it was best of 3. That's just not the way it is. Just not the way it is. And listen, I agree with Seth about absolutely sham game. It was if you're an Alabama fan, you better hope you got a better officials than what I just saw here. And truthfully, what I saw last night in the Samford game, UAB, I thought they let the San Diego State guys bully him around down low, and Jackson, the guy who got in foul trouble. But some of the calls against Samford last night, including the big block at the end, was just horrible. And then I think these guys were clueless. They were even clueless on inbounds where the guys were shuffling their feet and moving. It was stationary on that one play. It wasn't supposed to be moving. Dylan Cardwell called it out. And we didn't get a call. Ryan says New Haven, Connecticut, best pizza in America. That's Yale's campus, I guess, right there. I don't really know there. Yeah, the TV bug said the possession was Yale, but the error on the court was Auburn. Back to what LT was talking about. The court rules, TV people sometimes forget to flick that switch a little bit. All right, man. That looks good. All about the same officiating and just unbelievable shock and awe right here. I did not think we'd be sitting here. When I told Brown, I'm about to go to the Zach Bryan concert, and I'll be watching Alabama on my phone. I told Brown, I said, dude, you do post-game Alabama, I'll do post-game Auburn. And I did not think I'd be doing a post-game Auburn loss. One more thought here. Brandon's got a good one. Played off energy and emotion all year, didn't execute down the stretch. They did, and that's what shocked me is they didn't have that energy and emotion. And I don't know if that was because CBM wasn't out there. Usually the other people bring it, man. Other people bring it. Guys, some of you guys are just insensitive. If I put some of these up here, you guys would be like, and if it was an Alabama loss, you guys would be going ape shit over it. So I'm not even going to put them up there. You're right about this. Portnoy's bet on UConn looks good for $2 million win. Hey, at least them getting to the Final Four. Who's left to battle them out there? And boy, they look good today. They brought the injury. Jonathan says, "Thank you, CBM. You sucked today." Probably shouldn't be too hard on him. It looked like it was, he was a big part of. Getting you there. Got a championship in Nashville. All right, man. Auburn's out. Florida's out. Kentucky's out. Mississippi State's out. South Carolina's out. Texas A&M, commercial break over my shoulder here. Texas A&M battling Nebraska. That'll be a hard-fought game all night. And then Alabama's about to tip against Charleston. Let's see if we can at least have 2 SEC teams alive for the weekend. Right now, it is just the SEC regular season champs of Tennessee. Great year, disappointing ending for the Auburn Tigers. Hopefully we'll see Janai Broom another year down on the plains. He's fun to watch. Other than that, that's it. More reaction coming up on our platforms from Taylor Corn and Company and Scott Forrester inside the locker room, also on the podium, and then post-game Alabama on all the platforms as well. And Brown will be in this chair giving you reaction to the Alabama game. So join us back on this platform. Go and watch the games now. Go and enjoy the Alabama-Charleston game. Thanks for being with us. Thank you, Autograph. Don't forget to download the app. Use the promo code TNR. And I'm now going to have to go listen to Zach Bryan sing Something in the Orange and then think about what could have been for this Auburn basketball team. We're back a little bit later on this platform. We're the next round. Thank you, Autograph, promo code TNR.